SpiderMan reviews are finally hitting the internet, and while I didn't get an early copy of the game, how is the game performing with other critics, and what is up with Puddlegate? NBA 2K19 for the Nintendo Switch finally has some screenshots, and some information about the game may be a bit jarring to some gamers. A brand new retro system is hitting the market in 2019 that could potentially transform the way we play retro video games, and for some reason Nintendo is still supporting the Wii U in 2018. September 2018. All that and much more on the Wednesday, September 5th edition of RGT News. Let's go!
RGT News coming at you right now. Woo! RGT 85 coming to you with the freshest video game news. Now take it away.
If you watch my upcoming Nintendo Switch games for the month of September video, which you probably should have, if you haven't, shame on you. Make sure you watch it after this video. You would know that I am very excited for NBA 2K19 on the Nintendo Switch. I love basketball, it's definitely my favorite sport, and NBA 2K18 on the Switch was a really good game. It was really solid in terms of graphics and performance, and I was really impressed at how they managed to scale the PS4 version down to the Nintendo Switch and make it work so well. It's great to have a basketball game to play anywhere you go. But just like last year, there hasn't been any information on the Switch specific version of this game, not even screenshots or anything. Well, all that has changed. My buddy, the CEO of Greatness over on Twitter, sent over some Nintendo Switch specific screenshots of NBA 2K19, which I'm showing you guys now, and honestly, it looks pretty good. It definitely looks similar to last year, but that's not a bad thing. I thought the performance was very solid in last year's game. As long as they could somewhat increase the performance and keep going in a positive direction with this game, I think 2K will have another winner on their hands. Now, there is some information that is a bit jarring about this version of NBA 2K19. The file size. This is now the largest Nintendo Switch game, coming in at 31.5 gigabytes. So no matter if you buy it physically or digitally, you're gonna have to download something, and that does kind of suck. But what really sucks is the file size of the save file. 5 gigabytes! 5 gigabytes for a save file. That is absolute insanity. I don't understand why 2K cannot compress these save files. It was the same thing last year. It had an astronomical save file size on NBA 2K18. Like, compress things better. There are full Nintendo Switch games from third-party developers and Nintendo themselves that are smaller than your save file in your game. But other than that, I'm definitely looking forward to NBA 2K19. I know there's a bunch of microtransactions in the My Career stuff, but I never play that. I just play the game for the actual basketball exhibition, season mode, and online. Are you planning on picking up NBA 2K19 on the Switch? Let me know in the comments down below. A system that I haven't had my eye really on, but I probably should have, is a new retro gaming platform called the Polymega. Now, this thing has been talked about for a couple years now. It's not a crowdfunded thing. It's all being done internally by the Polymega developers. Well, today, or yesterday actually, they released a trailer for the Polymega, showcasing what it's all about, what it's going to be doing on day one, and a targeted release date of early 2019. And honestly, this system could potentially change how we play retro games from now on, because it's a really cool looking system. So right out of the box, what you have is a system that plays CD based games. So it'll play things like the PlayStation 1, the Neo Geo CD, so on and so forth. Then you can add modules to the system to play cartridge based games. So if you're a big NES fan, you can buy an NES module. If you're a Super Nintendo fan, buy a Super Nintendo module. There's going to be a TurboGrafx module and a Sega Genesis module. What I like about the Sega Genesis module is the fact that it actually plays 32X games as well. Now, of course, this hooks up to your standard HD television, and it has a cool interface as well for all of the games. I'm assuming that it dumps the ROM onto the system, but it doesn't look like, as of right now, you could just put ROMs directly on the system. You do have to have a physical media form of the game in order to play the games. But today, they announced a brand new system that will be working on day one out of the box, and that is the Sega Saturn. Now, this is a pretty big deal because Sega Saturn emulation is still somewhat spotty at best, and some games run phenomenally on it, some games not so well. So I'm going to be very curious to see how the Sega Saturn performs on the Polymega. Now, there are a few questions I have about the system, such as the BIOS of the CD-based stuff. Are you going to have to use your own BIOS? Is there going to be BIOS built into the system that is custom? But other than that, I think this could potentially be a winner. It's going to be $250 without any modules to buy. You have to buy the modules additionally, and it does come with a controller, but that base unit will play all of your CD-based games. So I'm still somewhat skeptical on it, but I definitely think it has potential. And if it works the way it's intended to work, and it works the way it should work, then this could be a very big deal. I have all of the classic systems, of course, like many people do. I also have a ton of the classic games, but I like the convenience factor of being able to play everything on one system on on my HD television. So I think that's a big positive in my opinion. Let me know what you think of the Polymega in the comments section down below, and if you're interested in this system, because honestly, I'm pretty interested. If you've been on the internet the last few days, you would know that Spider-Man reviews are finally coming out, and a lot of people seem to really be enjoying the game. Spider-Man currently sits at an 87 on Metacritic, and that's pretty much what I expected. I expected this to be a top-tier game. Now, of course, I did not get an early review copy. I will be picking up a copy and doing a video on it as soon as possible, but I'm definitely looking forward to playing Spider-Man on the PS4. I think it looks great, and it seems like it plays great as well. As far as the Puddlegate situation is concerned, you might remember I made a video talking about how people were upset that there were puddles missing. It does seem like that specific portion of the game does have puddles missing, and it does seem like that specific area of the game was somewhat downgraded, but from other reviewers and even Digital Foundry, they're saying that other areas in the game actually look better than we saw at E3. So really, it was just much ado about nothing. I don't know why everyone was so fixated on this one small portion of the game when it's a huge New York City that you can fully explore, but I'm definitely looking forward to playing Spider-Man on the PS4. Are you going to be checking out Spider-Man? Let me know in the comments down below. The Nintendo Switch Online service is still shrouded in mystery, and it's pretty stupid considering that it is launching at the end of September. But we did get some more information about one of the games that will be available for the NES on Nintendo's Virtual Console for the Nintendo Online service. I guess they're not calling it Virtual Console, but whatever. You know what I'm talking about. And that is the original Mario Brothers. Now, the original Mario Brothers is a super fun game. I remember playing this game on Game Boy Advance link cables back in high school at Arby's when we would skip second period, so I really like that game. And this game will also include online play where you can be competitive or play together. And the competitive aspect of the game is actually really fun. It's very fast, it's very frantic, and the NES version of Mario Brothers is a super solid version of the game, so I think that's pretty cool. I would still like to know what other 10 NES games will be available on day one, because you said there would be 20, but you've only talked about 10, but I digress. I guess at least we know something about Mario Brothers for the Virtual Console on Nintendo Switch's online service. I know it's not called Virtual Console. Damn it, it's a habit. Damn it, it's a habit. When it comes to system crossplay, Xbox and Nintendo seem to be getting along quite well, and then there's old man Sony telling people to get off their lawns and that they don't want to do online crossplay. Well, Sony was recently asked about their crossplay stance, in which they said that PlayStation is the best place to play. I guess that's supposed to mean no, piss off, we don't want to do cross-platform play because it's not good for our business. And honestly, I could sort of see that. Sony doesn't really have to do cross-platform play because they are in the first place. They are the #1 selling console this generation. They're making hand over fist of money with the PlayStation 4, so they don't have to play nice with the competition. But Xbox did take a shot back at Sony very recently, saying that Sony still isn't listening to gamers. All games should be cross-play and progression with the right input flexibility and gamer options. But what's actually interesting about that statement is an article that VG247 just put up yesterday. They basically did an article talking about graphical downgrade, sort of like I did with the Spider-Man video that I made a couple days ago. But in this article, they say something very startling when it comes to the Xbox games division. On the division, Xbox had a deal with Ubisoft, and part of the deal was to ensure that the PlayStation 4 version did not look better than it. The resolution, frame rates, and density of assets could have been higher on the PS4, but this was vetoed to prevent issues with Microsoft. And that doesn't seem very for gamers as well. If your system cannot handle a higher graphical output that another system can handle, they shouldn't be throttled with that. If the game runs better on another platform, the game runs better on another platform. It's just as simple as that. So it's a very interesting war that's going on over this cross-platform play. Personally, I love cross-platform play. It breathes new longevity into a lot of online games because you have larger install bases, but I do understand Sony's position on it. They don't really have to do it if they don't want to do it. What do you think about the cross-platform play situation though? Let me know in the comments down below. And finally, Nintendo is still supporting the Wii U in September of 2018. I don't understand it either, but here we are. A brand new Nintendo firmware came out for the Wii U, and this is the first firmware since July of 2017. Over a year has passed since we had a firmware update for the Nintendo Wii U, and now we have a new firmware update. So what does this awesome update entail? Further improvements to overall system stability and other minor adjustments have been made to enhance the user experience. Yay! So now my Wii U is more stable than ever. It's definitely time to dig out my Wii U and check out just how stable it is now. I was a bit worried about the stability of the system in years past, but now I know I don't have to be worried about that anymore. On a serious note, some people thought that this had to do with hacking and stuff like that, but many hackers are actually coming out saying, no, this has nothing to do with hacking. It doesn't thwart hacking on the Wii U, which is actually very popular right now, and a lot of people are doing it. So I'm not quite sure why this firmware update exists. It obviously has nothing to do with Nintendo's online service, as that's just for the Wii U, so I mean for the Nintendo Switch, so I don't know, but yeah, if you want more stability, your Wii U now has it. Alright, and that is going to do it for the Wednesday. Alright, and that is going to do it for the Wednesday, September 5th edition of RGT News. Now, before we go, I do want to let you guys know there will not be an RGT News on Friday, as I'm heading out of town to Retro World Expo, which is in Hartford, Connecticut at the Hartford Convention Center. It's September 8th and 9th. I will only be there on Saturday, September 8th, but if you do plan on coming, make sure you come for Saturday. It's going to be a really good time. I had a great time at the event last year. I have a signing at my table from 1 to 2 p.m. Basically, I'll just try to get you to buy a shirt from me. Come on, help me out, brother. And of course, I will be doing a panel at 6 p.m. on Saturday as well. It's an awesome convention. If you're in the tri-state area or anywhere close by, I definitely recommend you guys come out. But yes, there will not be an RGT News on Friday. There's still going to be videos on the channel. I got some really cool surprises for you guys as well. So make sure you keep it locked into RGT 85. And as always, I will catch you guys on the next video. Later.